Here's your Wednesday evening weather forecast. It's been a beautiful day across most of south central Mississippi. Blue skies out there right now over downtown Jackson at 5:30. 88 the current temperature at the airport. That's about where our high temperature will be for today. It still feels really summer-like outside with the dew point of 70. There's a lot of humidity in the air and the wind is calm at the moment, so there's really not much relief in the form of a cool down from the wind. We have a couple of isolated showers that have popped up across North Mississippi this afternoon across portions of Holmes County as well as in Attala County and Leake County. But those are really the only spots on the board that have seen these spotty showers. And that's exactly what they are. Just spotty in nature, not severe in any way, just your typical run-of-the-mill summer downpours, or at least late summer downpours. Still feels pretty hot out there. Feels more like 93 when you factor in the humidity in Jackson. A little bit cooler along the Mississippi River where there's a little bit more cloud cover. 88 right now in Vicksburg with the heat index. Feels like 100 farther east of Meridian, and it feels like 97 in the Pine Belt at Hattiesburg. So we've got 4 named storms to talk about now. This is Hurricane Helene. It's still tracking to the north into the north central Atlantic and will not bring any impacts to land. We have a new storm to talk about. This is Subtropical Storm Joyce. It's out in the middle of the north central Atlantic, and it will just kind of meander around for the next couple of days and also not bring any impacts to land. But that's another named storm that we have to talk about. And we have Tropical Storm Isaac as well, which is still it's kind of lopsided on the satellite imagery. The convection's kind of messy looking off to the east side of the circulation, but it'll still be making its way west towards the Lesser Antilles over the next couple of days and likely impact this island chain and continue west into the Caribbean Sea. Then we've got Hurricane Florence, by and large, the most impactful storm potentially on the board. It has weakened to a Category 3 storm with winds of 120 miles per hour, but that's not really all that relevant. The impacts are still going to be exactly the same as forecasted, no matter what exactly the strength is. It's a very large storm. Notice how large it is. The wind field, the tropical storm force wind field, is now about 180 miles wide, and that means that if everywhere from Jackson to Mobile had tropical storm force winds. That's exactly what we're seeing here. And as it's going to track northwest towards the Carolina coast, it's likely just going to stall across the region. Very similar to what Hurricane Harvey did. And regardless of the strength, the impacts are going to be the same, more than likely in the form of extreme storm surge and extreme excessive rainfall. So the upper level ridge is helping to steer this thing into the Carolinas is essentially going to break down, and that means the steering flow will collapse and it'll be surrounded by high pressure. So the storm essentially is not really going to have anywhere to go. The jet stream will be too far to the north to scoop this storm up and carry it out to sea. So it's just going to more than likely just meander along the coastline, and forecast models have a hard time forecasting that type of scenario when there's not a lot of well-defined steering flow to help push the storm. So really extreme rainfall amounts are likely along the North and South Carolina coast, and it's not until we get to Monday where it moves far enough inland to really start to dissipate. So here's the latest rainfall forecast, at least from the ECMWF model. I had to update the color palette to be more compatible with this, and the values are still maxing out all on the I-95 corridor going from Fayetteville all the way down to about Charleston. These rainfall amounts are going to be well above 10 inches, and locally 20 to 30 inches are possible on top of the storm surge stretching from Emerald Isle now all the way down to Charleston. Notice how the track has actually shifted southward a little bit. That's again because the forecast models are having a hard time really forecasting it when there's not a lot of well-defined steering flow. And then we have another disturbance which could become Tropical Storm Kirk over the next couple days. Has a 70% chance of doing so over the next 48 hours. It will likely track northwest up into southeast Texas. So meanwhile, back here at home, we will not be feeling any of the impacts from Florence or any other tropical disturbances we've been talking about. So just partly cloudy skies, maybe a couple isolated showers early in the evening before sunset, lows down into the low 70s. Still feeling summer-like for tomorrow as well, with a high of 90 and that 30% chance of rain coming in the afternoon and evening. And here's your 3-day forecast. Not many major forecast changes, still isolated chances of rain for Friday, and for the weekend dropping to more negligible for the start of next week. Highs in a holding pattern in the low 90s through the start of next week.